I'm Hazel, happy BlizzCon, and welcome back to Saturday. Is that how I start these? It's time to sit down and catch up on the biggest modern WoW news items coming out of BlizzCon Day 1. We have our next expansion announcement. It's called The War Within, and bizarrely enough, they announced not only this, but the expansion after that, and the expansion after that. Chris Metzen got on stage and just kind of went for it. I don't really know what to do with all that other stuff just yet, so I'm just going to focus on the upcoming one, which is called The War Within, and it's expected in fall of 2024. There was a lovely cinematic with Manduin and Thrall, and we're going to be going underground to hang out with Earthen and Nerubians, and just generally going underground. This expansion is going to feature Earthen as a new allied race. This will be our third dwarf race, with dwarves and then dark iron dwarves and now Earthen. Earthen will be available for Horde and Alliance. They will be bigger than dwarves, and they shall all have beards if they so desire them. The thing that I've found most exciting that's been announced so far for War Within has been what they're calling Warbands, which is their way of branding a collection of quality of life updates for playing multiple characters. Basically, more ways for alts to be smooth and yummy and delightful to play. A big one is that alts in the War Within will be sharing renowns and reputations. Important to note that they clarified in a group interview that at least at first that's going to apply only to new renowns and reputations in the War Within. It will not be retroactive, at least at first, as far as we're standing now. Maybe that'll change during beta if we're lucky. But they mentioned not wanting to make multiple characters feel required to do things, and I think there might be some limitations with old reps where, unless you make dailies account-wide locked, then, of course, multiple characters would be the best way to progress it if it was account-wide. Anyways, account-wide reps and renowns in War Within going forward for your alts. An account-wide bank and reagent bank that you can craft from the same way as a regular reagent bank. Oh boy, I'm excited for that one. And they've also teased what looks like a revamped login screen. This is something we're going to hear more about from BlizzCon Day 2, which is going to be out very soon as you're watching this, if it's not already. But generally, I'm really excited for this. One thing that they used to kind of tease how awesome this is going to be is that in the War Within, you will be able to learn transmog on a character, no matter what the transmog type is. Not wear it, but learn it. So say you have a mage and you run Nighthold and you get some plate, your warrior would be able to transmog that plate. You can learn it on your mage even if you can't wear it. This is amazing for transmog farmers, especially people that are trying to collect all of the transmog in the game. However, it does kind of beg the question of, well, are we going to farm transmog in the meantime? Because I would be very surprised if that was retroactive, and I don't see hoarding items as to be the way to go either, both because of practicality and also it might not even work. So, are we just going to not farm transmog for a year until this comes out? Because, it's hard to want to farm it now if you could just wait and then get all of the appearances that drop as opposed to just the ones that you can equip. So that's something. Other things coming in the War Within, they talked about new hero talents. These are new talents that are available for your class. You're going to earn them between 70 and 80. They're going to sit in the middle of your talent tree, right between your spec tree and your class tree. They're also shared between different specs. So a regular class that has 3 specs will also have 3 options for hero talent trees, but any given spec only gets access to 2 of them. You get to choose one or the other. So one of them would be shared between 2 of the specs. Makes more sense if you look at the triangle. They're also doing an outdoor type of content called Delves, which is bite-sized content for between 1 and 5 players. So they are soloable, but you could also go in with up to a full party of 5. And this is something that they're mentioning is specifically supposed to be evergreen. So not just something for the War Within, but something they want to add to the game and continue to keep in it and keep iterating on and adding to it from now on. That concept of having evergreen features is something that they've really leaned on for this expansion announcement. And it's kind of an interesting one for them to commit to so wholeheartedly, because evergreen content is a double-edged sword in that, yes, it's great to have new things that we don't have to let go of at the end of every expansion. However, if you keep adding new things and we keep keeping all of them, eventually you're going to have an awful lot of features all knocking around next to each other, and you run the risk of making your game kind of bloated. That was kind of what we saw with class talent trees and class abilities leading up to Warlords of Draenor, was they kept adding more talents and more levels and more abilities, and then there was just a ton of buttons. So in Warlords, they go in and prune a bunch of stuff, and that doesn't make people very happy. And then after that, you do these sort of like limited time systems, like your Azerite powers and your Legion legendaries, and other ways for them to add these sort of like endgame combat customizations that are expansion limited. And yeah, it's no fun to throw something away at the end of the expansion that was fun, but it does mean that you're not running around using your Covenant abilities and your Legion legendaries and your Azerite powers and all these other things. So it doesn't sound like they're hacking a bunch of the same system on top of each other, but I'm just kind of curious to see, and this is a very later than problem, if they do continue developing and adding evergreen systems, do they ever come to a point where they're like, well, for the next expansion, we're going to do new delves, you know, and then new dungeons and raids and battlegrounds and whatnot, like more of the same content that you get, but no new content types, because honestly, there's enough to do. I don't know if they ever reached that point, but that was like a thought that I had when they were doing that presentation. Other tidbits about the next expansion: Crossrealm Guilds are coming, and they are removing the Crossrealm restriction for Mythic raiding from day one. So Crossrealm Guilds will be able to exist, and Crossrealm groups will be able to tackle Mythic raids from the very first day, so that's exciting. The War Within is available to pre-order now, and this caused some controversy, because if you look at the pre-order versions, there's 3 of them, as is tradition, and the highest one, the most expensive one, that's like 90 USD and like 115 Canadian dollars, offers 3 days of early access to the game. So on the big expansion launch day, there's going to be the Epic Edition expansion launch day, and then 3 days later, they're going to let everybody else in. The way they're positioning this is that it's not for a competitive advantage. You know, Mythic raids aren't going to be open. The raid's not going to be open. You're going to have plenty of time to level your character and get ready for content, no matter whether you buy this or not. However, this is a crazy way to monetize FOMO, because even if you're not worried about getting caught up to speed, if you're playing WoW in any kind of a community and you're watching your guildmates and you're watching your Discord friends and you're watching your favorite streamers and YouTubers, and they're all in the game and they're leveling and they're doing their professions and they're getting everything going for 3 days while you're on your dragon doing laps around Valdrakken waiting to get in, that is a very powerful motivator for people to buy that really expensive edition. If maybe they wouldn't have otherwise. Some people aren't that worried about cosmetics, but they're not going to want to get left behind for 3 days. I think this strategy is dirty and is going to be extremely effective. I think it's going to get a lot of blowback, but I don't think they're going to change their mind, because they're going to make buckets of money doing it. Other cosmetics in the Epic Edition, you also get a mount pet, cosmetic Hearthstone toy, transmog set. That mount we can talk about for a second. That's actually available in the medium version as well. It's the Algarian Stormrider, and it is customizable. Not just like, oh hey, you can put a different saddle on it, but you can change the color. You can change all kinds of things to make this look really unique and specific to the way you want your character to look on it. Plus, it dragon rides, and it's not a dragon. The mount, along with the other cosmetics, are available now in-game if you pre-order, which is how they get you. Overall, I think the expansion looks really nice. I am excited for it. It's got some great quality of life improvements, but it didn't really have for me like that one big blockbuster feature that gave it like the wow factor. I'm really excited about Warbands, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it tomorrow. Maybe that's going to be the thing that gets me like really hyped for the War Within. But for the most part, it seemed like there's a lot of making the game more easy to play, frictionless, maybe casual friendly, and there's going to be great content that looks really nice, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot that's like super major headline worthy about it, at least right now. It is super early. I am still kind of confused as to why they're giving away the themes of the next 3 X packs, because what if you're like really excited for the Shadow one in the middle or the Titan one after that, and now you have to wait for them to get through all of this earlier stuff that we don't know if it's a faster patch cadence or not. They've been kind of cagey about it in interviews, so maybe it is going to be a faster expansion rollout. Maybe they will be annually, but it's entirely possible it's still going to be a 2-year expansion cycle for each one. And we might not be seeing that third one until like 2028. So it's nice that they have like a narrative storyline that they're building towards and that they know where they're going, but it's weird for them to tell us this early. Other things out of BlizzCon, Warcraft Rumble is out, and if you play it, you log in with your BNet account and you get through the tutorial and defeat Hogger, you will earn a pet in World of Warcraft. I did this, and I can tell you that this does not cost any money to do. It takes half an hour or less, and it is possible to do without figuring out what any of your minions do. You can, for the most part, just kind of fling them onto the screen and hope for the best. I got my Nomelia Gearheart, and I haven't the foggiest idea of what most of my minions did. It's cute, and it's probably a great version of that style of game. I don't see myself playing a lot of it personally unless they add like a PC port like they did for Hearthstone, just because I'm not a massive mobile game person. I'm usually home. I like the big screens and like the keyboard and stuff. Over in Classic Land, I'm going to skim through this real quick, but they mentioned official self-found servers coming, which is a hardcore classic mode that does not involve using any mail or the auction house until level 60. Presumably limited player trading too, although I didn't catch that in the slide. I'm excited for that. That's something that I was already kind of doing in hardcore just for fun, so I'm looking forward to it. Season of Discovery is a new form of what people are calling Classic Plus. They announced that with a bunch of details, so that sounds fun. And they're also developing Classic Cataclysm because there's somebody out there that wants it, and I hope they're happy. I don't know who they are, but I hope that this was just the best day for them. Maybe I just have no vision, but I feel like the long-term success of WoW Classic is really tied to these sort of more short-term experiments like the Season of Discovery and the Season of Mastery and like Hardcore. I'm not sure that it's Deathwing, but I'm skeptical. I don't know anything, so I guess we'll see. They are changing a few things about Cataclysm, but if anything, it sounded like they were making it more modern. They're making transmog account wide as opposed to you having to keep the items the way that you did back in Cata. They're making the leveling faster. They're making the patch cadence faster. I really felt for them going out to try to pitch Cataclysm to an audience that did not really seem all that jazzed for it, because we've had it before and most people have already kind of made up their minds about it. So those are my big BlizzCon Day 1 takeaways. I'm excited to see what they have for us in the WoW Deep Dive on Day 2. I will be co-streaming that as well. And a question from last week, Scatterrealms wanted to know, what was the achievement or pet or mounter title that you had the most fun obtaining? Looking for something new to try for. So I thought about it, and if I'm being completely 100% honest with myself, as cool as the more involved grinds are, like Jennifer, for example, I really was at my happiest and living my best life whenever I could just grind something. So farming the Crimson Whelpling out of the wetlands, or farming the Deviate Hatchling out of the Wailing Caverns. All I want to do for like a collection farm for the most part is find something straightforward and easy to do and do it just like 10,000 times in a row. I love that kind of thing, especially when it's not super fiddly and it's just very zen, you know, you can just kind of like grind mobs and kick back and hope that it drops eventually. If you're looking for something like that, the Crimson Whelpling still drops in the wetlands. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions for me for a news video, pop them in the comments. Bear in mind that I don't know anything extra. I haven't done any dev interviews. I have no inside info, so if there's anything that you want to know about the next expansion that wasn't in the presentation, then I don't got it. But if you got anything to ask me, pop it in the comments, include the word question to help me find it. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.